And we're back with more Talking Law TV, and we're here with Christie Register. Hi, Christie.
Hey, Michael.
And you're going to talk to us about bankruptcy misconceptions.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
Okay, well, for most people, it's very difficult to make that decision to actually file for bankruptcy.
It is. It's a big step. It's certainly not one to be taken lightly. Yeah, we offer free consultations. I've met with plenty of people in my career where I looked at the situation and told them that I thought they shouldn't file bankruptcy right now. More often than not, though, by the time people come to me, they're in pretty dire straits and do need to file. It'll certainly be a benefit to them.
This is a guy with a bucket on the deck of the Titanic at that point.
You know, it's not something that people want to do, so frequently we see people that are pretty much desperate. They have done everything they could possibly think of to avoid filing bankruptcy, and it's still not working.
Okay, so misconception may be the biggest one. Only deadbeats file bankruptcy.
That is not true. Bankruptcy is for people who have an income, especially Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is straight liquidation, but it's not for deadbeats. It's for people who have, for one reason or another, gotten in over their head, whether it's lost a job or had to have surgery, loved one got ill. I see people who've got various bad things that have happened that cause them to have financial problems. Okay,
if you're married, both parties, both spouses have to file bankruptcy?
No. Both spouses can file a joint case if the debts that are a problem are in the name of both spouses, then both may need to file. If some of the debts that are a problem are in just one spouse's name, then we can file just that one spouse. So it depends on the situation.
Well, a more common probably occurrence lately is, let's say you were married to a home builder, and the wife's got a good job, but the home builder, like you and I, both have small businesses. His business goes bankrupt, he goes bankrupt, she's worried.
It may be that she doesn't have to file bankruptcy. The bottom line in a situation like that is if you've got husband, home builder, and wife who's doing okay, if they had any joint debts, then they need to make sure those got paid if the wife is not going to file bankruptcy. Otherwise, it will adversely affect her credit.
Okay, and if you're going to prepare for that and he says, oh, I'm going to go put the house in her name, how long do you have to wait?
A long time. They look at transfers. So if you've got a house that's owned free and clear in the name of husband and wife, husband can still file bankruptcy, but it'd be Chapter 13, and he may have to pay his debts through that bankruptcy plan. Okay. You can't give your things away and then say, but I can't pay my bills.
Gotcha.
So they do look back, and sometimes it can be up to 10 years if it was transferred to a family member for an unreasonable or no value.
Okay. Everyone's going to know you filed.
That is not true. I think some counties put out credit bulletins. I'm not aware that Chatham does or any of the surrounding counties. Most places the newspaper doesn't publish it. It'll be a matter of public record. You know, when you go to court, the other debtors that are there obviously will know, but they'll be in the same boat as you are. But in general, I think, you know, most people don't pay attention to stuff like that. It's not in the paper, so often nobody will know.
Okay, what about back taxes? Can you write those off?
Short answer, no. It depends on whether returns were timely filed and how old those taxes are. In a Chapter 13 plan, they can be paid through that plan and the fees and penalties stop. So there's a big advantage in that. But the short answer is no, you've got to pay your taxes and student loans. Those aren't dischargeable.
And you can only file bankruptcy one time?
No, there are time limits, but you can file more than one time in your life, certainly.
I had read, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Colonel Sanders, the guy who developed KFC, he didn't invent that till he was 69 years old, but he had filed bankruptcy 7 times in his life before he invented KFC. You
know, that does not surprise me. There are a lot of people that are well known that have gone through bankruptcy at some time or another in their lives.
Okay.
And see, he came out on top. Yeah.
I can max out all my credit cards, file for bankruptcy, and never pay off the things I bought.
No, that wouldn't be a good idea. You know, a lot of this is common sense. That doesn't sound fair. So those creditors would probably raise an objection. Now, I've had clients whose balances have just built over a period of years. That's acceptable. But to go out and run up your cards when you know you're going to file bankruptcy or you know you can't pay it is not a good idea. That can be construed as bad faith, which can cause problems, and you may have to pay those bills.
Okay. I should not include certain creditors in my bankruptcy filing.
False. We have to list every creditor. Even if it's a mortgage company that you intend to continue paying and keep your house, we still have to list that debt. Even if it's a student loan that's not going to be paid in your bankruptcy and it's not going to be dischargeable, we still list it. So bottom line, that bankruptcy petition has to list everything you own and every company that you owe.
What about companies you don't owe but you have open credit with? For example, if you're filing bankruptcy and you have a department store card, there's no balance on it. Do you still close that account or do you leave it open?
Well, with Chapter 13, while you're in that case, and that's the reorganization where you're making your payments to the trustee every month, you can't incur new debt. So it wouldn't be listed as a debt because it's not a debt because the balance is zero, but you would not be permitted to continue using it. Obviously, you're allowed to buy things while you're in Chapter 13. You just can't buy it on credit. You can put things on layaway. You can save up your money and pay cash for it. But that's the limits. Obviously, the goal of bankruptcy is to get you out of debt. So before you incur new debt while you're in bankruptcy, the trustee wants to know about it. And if the trustee objects, then we have to get permission from the judge.
Okay. Next one is, I will lose everything I own.
Definitely not true. You can keep what you can afford to keep. Unsecured debts are generally disposed of through the plan. Or discharged as unsecured. But your vehicle, if you owe money on it and you want to keep it, then you have to be able to pay for it. A lot of people tend to think that bankruptcy is just this miracle armor, which means you get to keep your stuff and not pay for it. So, realistically, if I have somebody who comes in the office and they have no income and you want to file Chapter 13 so you can keep your car, how are you going to fund that plan? So it has to be realistic.
Okay, and our last one is, I'll never be able to own property again.
Definitely not true. In fact, often after bankruptcy, you're more appealing to a creditor than you were before because you still have your job and your income, but you don't have all that debt that was weighing you down before you filed bankruptcy. Now, until you're able to reestablish your credit interest rates may not be so great, but, that's just part of it.
Okay.
Often what I find, just one more snip, is that by the time people decide to file bankruptcy, their credit's already shot anyhow. So bankruptcy, in a lot of ways, makes it better.
Okay. Well, Christie's going to stay with us, and we'll come back in a few minutes and answer viewer mail. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.